Hi, everybody. This Facebook Live will last about 30 minutes, and we are going to talk about health and stress. As a special guest today, we have Maritza Luz, MD, Guatemalan physician and surgeon. My name is Ana Stephanie Munoz. I'm a Guatemalan entrepreneur, transformational and stress management coach, and I provide tools to successful people to find happiness and balance in life. If the sound is okay, please give me a thumbs up or a comment below. I have been taking into account all the recommendations from our audience to improve the sound, so please let me know what I can do to improve it. And something new I want to ask you is to tell me what other issues related to stress you would like to know more about. So, if you can write that down here, please, I would really appreciate. And I want to introduce you today to our special guest, Maritza Luz. She's a physician and surgeon. She has studied functional medicine and medicine for pain. She has several master's degrees and further studies on the subject, specializing on self knowledge and self healing. This has helped her accompany her patients on their healing path. And her Facebook page, I'm going to write it down on the Facebook so you have it. It's Bioson Guatemala. So, Maritza, welcome. Could you please share something else about yourself with our audience today, please?
Hi, so happy to be here with you. A little bit nervous. It's my first Facebook Live and it's my first time in English too, so please be patient. Um, as Stephanie has been saying, I study to be a medical doctor, but in my private practice, I realized that I was not just helping to get off symptoms of the patients. So then I started this walking on different techniques. So now I'm practicing functional medicine, and I'm starting to realize what else can I help with patients. And I know certainly that I cannot help anybody to heal themselves. I think my job as a physician is to accompany my patients and help them to recognize the power of healing that they have by themselves.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thanks, Maritza. We're really happy to have you here today. And I would like to ask you if you could talk a little bit. There are two things I would ask you to talk about. First, since you mentioned functional medicine, if you can tell our audience what it is. And then I know it's a bit related, and then you can explain, but about, I hope I say it right because it's a really long word in English, psychoneuroendocrinology immunology. I think I said it right. I don't know.
I don't know if you
But
say it right, but that's it.
MTEI. So if you can tell us a little bit about those two things, because what we're going to talk about, it's very important so our audience understands what both means and how it can help them to improve the way they handle stress better.
Yeah, functional medicine basically it's going to the root cause of the problem that you are having. Normally, in allopathic medicine, in normal medicine that we practice, we are just focused on symptoms, and we are just like firemans. I think we are just turning fire off and fire, but we are not doing anything to improve the mechanism or the root cause of the disease. So the allopathic medicine has been so good on doing this part. So it's
Mhm.
their job to stop the fire. And then in functional medicine or in biologic or regulation medicine, we can go and start looking for the root cause that could be the thing that provoke the symptoms. So
Mhm.
then we can really help to heal the body and not just to like turn off the symptom, because
Okay.
normally your body is it's doing things right, and the body doesn't misunderstand things.
Mhm.
So if something is happening with your body, it's because something else is going wrong there. So
Mhm.
if you just close the symptom, then you will not get the thing going, and it will come down in different places. So that's the basic. Finding the root cause and going back to basic is the essential part of the functional medicine. And then the weird name that you just said is like psychoneuroendocrine immunology. It's because as medical doctors, we don't think the body as a whole thing. It's just that somebody treats the lungs and somebody treats the intestine and somebody treats the head. But we know that we are not just a body with organs. We are more than the adding of the parts. So in functional medicine, it's very important to take the person or the patient as the whole system, because we know that if we treat the thyroid gland, that will take something in cortisol or in insulin. And if you have something going wrong in your body, probably another organ it's
being affected.
Exactly. So this I like the name because it's the reminder that almost everything begins in the psychological.
Psychological.
Exactly. So if you're gonna treat the patient, you have to have this like first the wanting of the patient to heal, not giving the responsibility to the medic, because I cannot do anything for the patient.
Exactly.
And the patient has to understand that it's a compound of stuff. You have to treat your head, you have to treat your immune system, you have to treat your body, you have to turn off the fire. Of course, you're not going to be every time feeling bad. You have to turn off the fire, but it's a whole thing that you have to do, and it's entirely responsibility of the patient because there are so many things that you have to treat.
Mira, mi pregunta se me dejaba a ir al gimnasio de la mamá Leisa.
Pause.
Sorry.
Okay, don't worry.
¿Vas a ir al gimnasio de Leisa?
When we're parents of toddlers,
Con Leisa.
we needed to do Facebook Live and not being interrupted. So don't worry. It's part of being a mom of toddlers.
Sweater. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I couldn't stay in the clinic because I didn't have somebody to watch my daughter, but it's leaving right now. So I'm going to be free.
Don't worry. We have a question. I think it's really interesting. And Ramiro Ponce, thanks for watching. I'm happy to have you here. He wants to know, would you please give us some specific examples of how functional medicine finds, in some cases, the root cause of a symptom?
For example, in a diabetic patient, that is my most likely example, because normally in allopathic medicine they tell you that it's a disease and you're not going to be cured, and that suddenly the disease came, and it's entirely not true at all. Because normally diabetes, it's a this metabolic regulation, not exactly. I'm talking about diabetes type 2. I have to be specific because the other one is autoimmune and it's a different stuff. But in diabetic type 2, it's not just that suddenly you get your glucose up. It's at this regulation of your metabolism for like 15 years at least. So you have been like working to become a diabetic patient. So one of the treatment is to get the glucose down, of course, but then if you can go and watch your lifestyle and watch what you're eating and watch your pancreas and start working in all your body, well, you probably can heal it. Most if you are overweight and you go back, so it's nothing to worry about. And in functional medicine, it's not just going back to the root cause, but preventing. Because I can tell you and I can explain how you are going to get diabetes if you keep on this road, and what you can do to turn and not become a diabetic patient. So that's one of the examples. And another example of the psychoneuroendocrinology immunology thing, I don't know how to say it in English.
I think it's perfect.
I already I always explain to my patients that if somebody opens the door right now and show me a gun, I will think a lot of things. And just by thinking, probably it's a joke, and they will close the door and go, and they are not going to do anything to me. But just by me watching the gun and thinking about the gun, that will deliver a lot of neurostimulation in my head, that will stimulate my endocrine gland. So then I will have this fight and fly response. And by doing this, I will center all my energy in these glands and forget about the rest of my body. So just about watching the gun, nothing has happened. And I just develop everything in my body. I have my fight and flight response, and nothing happens. But I just did all that just by thinking about it. Yeah, and 2 days after it, I will have this horrible flu because my immune system went down.
Exactly.
So that's the important thing about understanding that my head has the power of controlling all my body and all my system.
This is very interesting what you're saying. I always, with my clients, I always mention this, the flight and the flight response of,
Fight and flight.
fight and flight, because that's when stress happens, and that it's really important that because that's when the cycle starts. So you need to close the cycle. It starts in your head, but it goes to your body. So the most important thing is to close it in your body. Otherwise, happens what you said. You get sick, or you start a cycle, and when you're trying to complete it, then you start a new one, and then a new one, and it becomes a chronic stress. So you never close the cycle, and everything goes into your body, and then it comes a time when everything
explodes. And that's the example about just turning the fire off. Because normally, if I give you something to turn the fire, like in your body, but I'm not going to the root cause, then it will go down a little bit. But your body is very intelligent, and he thinks that you are being chased, so it will do it harder. So then I will give you something stronger and get it a little bit down, but then your body will do it harder until you get a chronic fatigue or a adrenal fatigue. So if you don't find what is causing it, you cannot heal it, or you cannot stop it, as you said, because the circle is going to go on and on and on. And if you take the medication off, it will go to the head.
Exactly. And it will get even worse, because from one disease you end up with 2 or 3 different ones due to that non-completion of the cycle in your body, and focusing in the body to heal and to finish the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was telling you, that for example, the stress is going so high, even though I'm giving you something to sleep or something to relax, that then you end with adrenal fatigue, with the cortisol in the floor.
Yeah, no, completely agree with you. And and what would you recommend us to do to handle stress better, and to avoid getting ill, to have a good health when this starts?
It's changing a lot of habits, because we are not genetically developed to live the life that we are living right now. We have this fight and flight response, and it has an exactly it works, but it works in the moment that you need it. When you have been chasing by the elephant, or when you are going to crash your car, or when somebody is hitting a gun at you, the fight and flight response works, and works very good.
Exactly.
But if you have this response the whole day long, it's going to affect and defeat your body. And that's how we are living, because normally we are stressed in traffic, we don't sleep good, we don't repair the body because we are always watching the cell phone, we always have lights, we are eating late at night. So we are not having this relaxed time, and we are not eating well, and we are not getting this meditation or just relaxed period as we used to have.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I am writing down, the key things you're saying, because I think it's very important for our audience to note, like, the key things of what, we're not genetically designed of the type of life we're dealing with. And what's the most important thing you mentioned is that we are not relaxing enough. We're not having these periods of time where we just relax.
We don't even go to the bathroom without the cell phone. So we don't have this one-on-one, like me and me time. And I'm a very accelerated person. So I hate meditating, and I was like, nobody meditated in the lifetime. So maybe should I have to meditate? And then you realize that we did meditate. We did meditate, and we did meditate a lot. We had this one-on-one time, like just sitting outside the door, watching cars, watching ants, or get up in a tree and just stay for 2 hours there. We didn't have internet. We didn't have cartoons all day long. So we did meditate. We were contemplating more. And now we are just running and running and running and running and running. And 1 second I have left, I grab my cell phone and respond all the WhatsApps. And then if I have a 5-minute break, I go to YouTube or read something. So we don't relax. We don't have these contemplated periods. And that is making us eat more, for example, because you need to compensate and hug and feel loved and get this neurotransmitted release from a different way. And normally we do that eating carbs, because that will give us this boost and this joy that we are not getting because our life is just running away.
Yeah. That's true. I completely agree with you. And we've been, and I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that issue with carbs, the eating part, because with time, what has happened, I think, probably in the last 50 years, is that our diet has gone to the trash. Really, things that we think are healthy aren't. So in that sense, what would you recommend us to investigate more, to research, to do, so we can start changing our habits, and especially that we are used to very, very bad eating habits? How would you say we should start changing?
Okay. I'm gonna respond. Wait.
Don't worry. So yeah, as
perfecto.
contemplating
Time acuéstate un ratito, ahorita, pero en el cuarto.
We lost that, and we need to go back to those, and that's why meditation is getting so trendy, because it's the times that we have for the quality time of me with me time.
Sí. And it's not just meditation. It's like this. I love mindfulness, because it's just going back to contemplate. You don't have to be 2 hours like this. No, just contemplate and be present, because then you will understand if you're hungry or you're angry or you need a hug or you're tired or you need to rest. But we don't have time for that. So we just eat. And it's very important to realize that it's not calories the bad guide of the story. And that's why we keep doing these diets and nothing happens. We're just getting fatter and fatter and fatter. So it's glucose and fructose that we have to look what it's doing to our body. So I can share a book with you, but it's in Spanish, but you can find it in English, about eating with low glycemic index. That's one part where you can get your insulin level down and your glucose level down. But for the talking about stress, I will recommend to you to read Cerebro de Pan. I don't know how in English.
Bread Brain.
Bread Brain. Ajá. Yo no lo agarré, mi amor, búscalo. That book talks about gluten and sugar. And it's a neurologist from the United States who has found that though Alzheimer and degenerative diseases of the head, they are just linked with what you have been eating. And if you stop gluten and stop sugars, the recuperation of the patient, it's incredible. But most that you can slow progression or not have the disease if you stop doing it. Because we used to eat bread that has like 4%, for example, of gluten. So you can deal with that part of gluten. But now, because it's genetically modified, you have 50%. So nobody tolerates it because you cannot process it. So you can do the exam and find out that you are not intolerant, for example. But the truth is that nobody can process that amount. So the recommendation is to have it off the diet, for example, and sugars off the diet completely. But most what I recommend is to take chemicals off the diet because the body can handle oxidation and deoxidation, and that's normal. That cannot be taken out of your body because if you breathe, you oxidate. So that's normal, and your body has the ability to compensate, and that's part of the life. But if you are just bombarding chemicals whole day long, stress, no sleeping, so the body cannot compensate. So if you start by taking chemicals off, having good night's sleep, stop getting lights just before going to sleep, having these healthy habits to go to sleep, and getting a little bit of stress down, then your body will compensate. The body is made for health.
That's true. That's true. What is the name you said of the book so I can write it down for our audience to know?
The Cerebro de Pan.
Cerebro de Pan. Yeah, I think in English is read.
It was written in English. I can find it here. It's wonderful to read because what I feel the most important part of the patient is that you have to learn. You have to understand why you are doing and what you are doing, not just do it. Because when you change this thing, this chip here, then your decisions will change. Because I don't like patients who are like, just no, I can do it and I'm strong and I will keep it, because it's not. I don't like the patient to stress more. It's just that when you change the chip and understand what this is doing or what this will do in my body, then it's wonderful, because I would like to eat it. Yeah, probably, but I'd rather eat this. And it's just like slow flow going on, and suddenly you can change. There'll be things that are going to be a little bit difficult, but then it's slowly. And when you are more present, you will feel how bad you feel after eating sugar or bread or beer or carbonated gaseosas.
Beverages. Carbonated beverages.
So then when you are present, you feel how bad you feel after it. So your body, it's always speaking to you and telling you what to do and what not to do, but we don't want to listen. So when you stop for a moment and feel your body and relax and drink water and breathe, and then we'll see, no, I'm not hungry, I'm angry. So then you will start to teach your body that you have different feelings that you are not allowed to feel, but you have different feelings, that it's just not hunger. It's funny because when I don't eat, when I fast, I have suddenly cravings, or sometimes I feel a little bit hungry and I drink a tea or take water, and then the hunger will go away. But my head, you haven't eaten in 18 hours. You're gonna fall. You're gonna get dizzy. You have to eat. You promised to do 18 hours, but you have to eat. And why you're so it's so funny because my head is like going on and I just like breathe and say, am I hungry? No, I'm not hungry. And my head, yes, but it's been 14 hours and you haven't had dinner. So it's like, but I'm not hungry. So you have to educate your head because now we don't eat we don't eat by hunger. We just eat. And the most important part in stress that we were talking in a radio yesterday is that we breathe backwards.
Yeah.
And you have to
we don't
change.
know how to breathe.
When
That's
you
right.
watch a little kid breathe, you see the stomach go up and down and up and down, and you see they are breathing. When you see a grown-up breathing, nothing moves. And when you breathe deeply, you get your stomach in. And when you get your stomach in, you get your organs back, and your diaphragm goes up, and your lungs go small, and you didn't breathe at all.
That's true.
So you have to watch your stomach, breathe in, and get your stomach as big as you can. So then you will get your stomach out and your diaphragm down, and then your lungs can be longer,
completely open.
And then you will be oxygenated. So you get that and keep it a little bit, and then get it off, and then you get your stomach in. So then you can empty your lungs and then repeat their cycle. So we have two nervous systems. Nervous systems: the fight and flight response, and the one that is for relaxation and regeneration, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic effects.
Exactly.
So we are always in the sympathetic one. Always. We are always like doing and watching and working, and so we are just always in the fight and flight response. But when you start breathing like that, like really oxygenating your body, immediately your body goes to the other system, and then you relax. So it's physically impossible to be angry or stressed breathing like that.
No,
So it's so funny. You close the door and you hysterically and start breathing like that, and then you start laughing because it's impossible, because your body physiologically turns to the other system.
Exactly. And you close the cycle.
Exactly. So it's a good habit to put alarms in your cell phone and remind you to get half a minute or 10 breathing techniques in between the day, every hour, every 2 hours, and then you will start going a little bit down your stress levels.
Exactly. No, that's an amazing tip. And I think, one of the things we are about to, about very close to the time frame that we have now. So this tip, I think it's really important. We've been talking about breathing in many of our Facebook lives. But one thing that I want to close this Facebook Live with this, Maritza, it's about the accountability each of us has on our own health. And as you were saying in the beginning, it's not the accountability of the doctor. The doctor accompanies you to heal and to have a healthy life. But what can we do that you would recommend to improve that we take charge of our life, that we're accountable for it, and not wait until we are sick to finally change habits and finally transform what we haven't been doing so far?
You have the answers everywhere. You have to start reading, studying, asking, and researching. And it's funny because you have the answer. And everybody that goes, Hippocrates is the father of medicine. And he said, if you listen to your patient good enough, he will tell you what he has. But if you really, really stop and listen, he will tell you what to do to heal. And that's true. The patient knows what's going wrong. So you know how you feel when you eat sugars. You know how you feel after a party of drinking alcohol. You know what you have to do. The thing is that you don't want to do it. So you are expecting a doctor to tell you not to do it, and doctors don't know either. We don't have the best habits, so they are not going to tell you. But you really know. So you have to search it, read it. You have a lot of documentals in Netflix. I can give you books. The information is there, and then you have to start reading, and you can ask me, and we can solve doubts, because what's good for you probably is not good for the other one. But there are few things that you have to get your stress levels down. You have to reconnect with the nature. You have to reconnect with your family and have fun. You have to stop eating sugars. You have to stop eating chemicals. You have to start eating like your grandfather used to eat. So there are basic things that you don't need any money to start doing it. And you don't need any preparation to start doing it. Just read a little bit and ask a little bit, and then everything starts to make sense. And it's in documentation and in medical information. It's just that nobody wants to put it all in public, because then you will start not buying all the stuff that it's selling out there.
That's true.
But it's there. The information is just a click away.
Great. That's amazing. I really appreciate that. And if you later on, when we finish this Facebook Live, you can go in the comment section and give us some names of or links to some reading that we can start doing, especially with, not the doctor technical things, words and stuff, but very basic things that we can start doing, and that we can start understanding of how we can eat better and treat our bodies better. That would be really appreciated. And I want to ask the audience if there are any further questions from Maritza, so we can close up the Facebook Live. I don't know if anybody has any more questions. Okay.
Yeah, Ike is asking about turning the smartphone off. You should, when you are eating, you should eat like we used to do. If you eat with people, or if you eat watching something, you are not going to be aware of what quantity you're eating, or if you are full, or if something's not right. So when you eat, you have to eat and be present. And there are a lot of exercising apps that are mindfulness eating, that you have to be there. And by practicing, it becomes, we are animals that learn. So by practicing every day, you will slowly return. But at first, it's going to be difficult, because it's easier to have the screen TV on, or the computer, or working, because we need to get more efficient at work, probably. But if you rest and if you eat and then go back to your things, probably you're going to be more efficient, and your head is not going to be so blurry. When you eat sugar and you eat gluten and you are so tired about doing, you are not as clever or as sharp as you used to be. But if you just stop for a minute and do some sit-ups, or go to the bathroom and drink water, or just go outside and take a 5-minute walk and breathe, then when you come back, you're sharper, and then the information, it's in you, and it will come. So you are going to be more efficient and less stressed.
That's right. So, I want to thank first our audience for being here, and the participation, the questions. Remember that this recording is open to the public, and you can share it with the people who can benefit from it. Also, if somebody wasn't able to watch the whole show, the recording stays public, so you can watch it later on. And Maritza and myself will answer questions if you have any further questions after watching it again. So my name is Ana Stephanie Munoz. I am a Guatemalan entrepreneur, transformational coach, and stress management expert. Maritza, thank you so much It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you here today. And I don't know if you want to add some final words to the audience for today.
Just remember that you can heal yourself and you have the power to be in the best way you want to be and the best way of living your life, but it's just your decision.
Thanks so much, Maritza. Very, very deep words. And remember, guys, it's everything starts with us, and we're accountable for our health and the way we want to live our lives. So in the future, please let us know what are the biggest challenges you're facing related to stress, and what other issues stress related you would like to know more about that we can talk on this Facebook Live. So please comment below, and I will be looking for those topics and the experts for the coming months. So thank you so much. Have an amazing evening, and thanks, Maritza, again. Bye-bye, everybody.